Okay, so the last couple videos we talked about what is calculation. We did an introduction to calculation. The next video we did blundering, how to avoid blundering, because blundering is by far the most common way people lose a chess game. So I talked about a student of mine. He had 100% of his losses were due to a blunder, but he was reading a book about pawn structures, and I was like, no, let's put that aside. We'll save that for another day. Let's put our attention where it's necessary and stop the bleeding, right?
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to take it a step further. So the antidote to blundering is to do a threat assessment after every move. So I believe it's not playing chess if you are not doing a threat assessment once your opponent makes the move. So, I make a move, and the first opening move, there's really no threat, but as time goes on, threats are made, and you have to be aware of it. So if your life is in danger, you would want to know about it, right?
Correct.
Why? Why would you care?
Because I want to make the most well-informed decision that I can in order to avoid my...
Yeah, you can't avoid what you're not aware of, right? And if a threat is coming, you want to know about it. So the threat assessment is the first layer. But then we want to get a little more sophisticated about the way we play chess, okay? And my student, the other day, he called it keeping your options open. And if you want to be better at chess, and chess is all about making decisions, we have to make better decisions to get better at chess.
Right.
And to make better decisions, we have to have more options. Most likely, beginners, when they see a threat, they think of one way to avoid that threat, and they just go all in. They don't think of multiple ways to solve the problem and choose the best, but they just see one way, and then they go. And there's room for improvement there. So this is what we're going to talk about today. All the ways to make a piece safe. Okay? So can you name the different ways to get a king out of check?
You can take the piece that is... putting it at risk.
Good, I call that capture.
Capture. You can move something in front of it.
Okay, you can block.
You can block, or you can move your king.
Move, capture, block. Right? Move, capture, block. So it turns out the way that you can get the king safe is true for all the pieces as well. Okay, you can move, you can capture or block with other pieces as well. However, there are 3 additional ways to make the piece safe that are not available to the king. Okay, so you can move, capture, block, but you can also, for other pieces, you can protect, you can counterattack, and you can trade it off for an equal piece. Okay, so you can't counter a check. If I'm in check, I can't counterattack. It's against the rules. If I'm in check, I can't, move a pawn to guard the king. That doesn't work, right? And if I'm in check, I can't trade my king off for your king. That doesn't work either. So those options are off the table for check, but all 6 options are available for all the other pieces. Move, capture, block, protect, counterattack, trade off. So let's get sophisticated about making our options known and then choosing from the best choice available, okay? So I'm just going to make a few moves here. D4, D5. And then let's say I play knight to F3, and you play E6, okay? Well, then I'm going to come and make a move. And what is the first thing we do when it is your turn?
Assess the threat.
Yeah, and what is the threat?
The threat is you are attacking my queen.
That's right. Isn't it beautiful when it's so obvious, right? So when it's subtle, it gets more difficult, but when it's this obvious, you're like, okay, I got this one, okay?
Right.
Now, in this position, my student, within half a second, just played queen to D6. And I just stopped the clock and said, okay, why'd you choose that? Yeah. And he said, well, my queen was under attack. And I said, yeah, okay, but did you choose queen d6 or did you just see queen d6 and move? He said, well, I just saw queen d6 and move. I said, okay, well, let's actually, in this simple position, and we're only on move 4 or 3 or whatever it is, and there's actually a sophisticated number of ways to get out of check. So let's name them. So first of all, let's write them down. Move, capture, block. Protect, counterattack, and trade off, right? So, and we'll go through them one by one and name all the ways to get the queen safe. All right, so let's go through them one by one. What are all the squares the queen can move to be safe?
Really, just two squares. We have D7 and D6.
D7 and D6. So that's already two.
Yeah.
Right? And he didn't even mention that the queen could move to D7. He just assumed,
Yeah.
queen to D6 was the best move.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's moving. Okay, we got two options there. How about capturing? Can we capture the piece that's attacking?
Well, I could, but it would be not an ideal move because then the knight would take it back, and
Good.
the trade-off would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a simple calculation to make,
Yeah.
right? So, and actually, how quickly were you able to answer that question?
Fairly quickly.
Fairly
I mean, the queen's worth 9 and the bishop's worth 3,
Right.
so.
My student's complaint is I can't think of all this, I don't have time, right? But when we make this habitual, then we are moving as fast as thought, which is pretty darn quick. Because if I said, what would you think about queen takes? You're like, no, done, move on,
Right.
So what's next? We have move, capture doesn't work. How about block? Can we block?
Yes, there's 3 options here. You can move the bishop in the way,
Okay.
you can move the knight in the way, or the pawn.
Okay, good. And you're actually missing one.
Well, I mean, this isn't an option.
No, that's not an option.
Put me in check.
The knight can move to E7.
Oh,
as well.
right.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 different blocks. Okay, plus the original 2 moves.
Yeah.
So that's 6 options.
Yeah.
Okay. How about protection? Can we protect the queen?
I mean, we could technically, but again, it would be a trade-off here
Yeah, that doesn't work, right?
where we're losing 6 points right off the bat.
Very good. So I don't consider this an option, obviously, because it doesn't work. And this is what I call a value attack. When a cheaper piece is attacking a more expensive piece, protecting or adding a guard is not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but we could put, check it off the list. We can move to 2 squares. We can block in 4 different ways. Protection doesn't work. And how about trading? Trading doesn't work. Can you trade off the queen?
No.
No. For an equal or greater piece? No. Okay. How about counterattack? Do you have any checks, captures, or threats?
Yeah, I mean this would be more of a block, but
It's a block and a counterattack.
counterattack.
And this is also a block
Yes.
and a counterattack.
Yes.
Now we have 2 pieces attacking here and 1 piece defending.
Right.
I call that a numbers threat. So this is a value threat, and this is a number threat. Number threats, protection does work.
Right.
Okay. All right. But there's actually another counterattack that you're missing. We're looking for checks, captures, or threats.
I can push up here.
Good. So bishop b4 is a check and it is a counterattack. It's awful. It doesn't work out,
Yeah.
right? Because if I block with a pawn, now the queen and the bishop are under attack. And so the only way to save both is to move the bishop back to e7. And why would I allow white to have a free move when I could just move the bishop to e7 right away?
Yes.
So it makes no sense. It doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah.
But we've come up with 6 choices that make the queen safe. Okay. And now it's our job to analyze each one of them and pick the one you like best. Okay. So what I do is I just start eliminating the ones that make no sense. Okay. So for example, queen to d7 looks really ugly.
Yes.
Okay. I want to pick the way to make the queen safe that is already corresponding and in harmony with the plan I already have. And in the opening, my plan is just to develop.
Yes.
And so this hinders this.
Yes.
And it's ugly.
Also, it doesn't look good to have here.
Why would you want to voluntarily put your queen and king on the same line, right?
Right.
So this already we can eliminate. Okay. This move, it's not so bad. It's not. I mean, it's the move he ended up making, and he got lucky that it wasn't so bad. But it does block in the dark square bishop.
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe we can improve. So what I like to do is play king of the hill with my move. This is the top move so far that I've analyzed. I'll put it in my pocket and see if any of the other moves beat it and can replace the king on the hill.
Yeah.
Okay. But right now, this is my move.
Right.
Okay. So now we can take a look at a couple of these ideas here. Bishop b7. Okay, tell me about this move.
Well, this is, in my opinion, a better move than that one because you're not only protecting the queen, but you're also counterattacking the bishop.
Right. And so if white is careless, he could lose a piece.
Right.
Okay. So making a threat is always going to increase your chances of your opponent making a blunder. Okay. So this is an option. As a matter of fact,
It doesn't trap in the bishop.
doesn't trap in the bishop. It
Opens another arm for him.
keeps all your pieces happy, right? This is actually the computer's top move, but just barely. Okay. But what would be the drawback of this move? And this is a little bit more sophisticated. I mean, this is more of a strategic reason.
You know, if white takes here,
Okay.
then you're left with two options. Either you can take with the knight or you take with the queen.
Okay.
Either way, this is not the position ideally
Right.
that I would want to end up to start the game at in this opening formation.
Right. Talk to me about the color of the bishops. What colors of the bishops were traded off? What color squares did they travel on?
So it was the queen's bishop versus my king's bishop.
Yeah, they're both dark square bishops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if I were to trade, right? Your light square bishop is your bad bishop. You traded off your good one.
Yeah.
And I traded off my bad one,
Yes.
and I have a good one. So it's like, strategically, it's like I have an extra piece. Or it'll be easier for this bishop to get into the game than it will be for your bishop to get into the game.
Right.
It's a small thing.
Yeah.
But it's something to notice.
Yes.
Okay. So that would be a potential drawback to bishop b7, which is why I personally don't prefer it. Okay. How about knight to e7?
It's also an option, but it does trap in your dark squared bishop here.
Which also delays castling kingside.
Right.
Okay. So again, this isn't ideal. You're still in the pin. It's difficult to break that pin, right? It's not the natural square for the knight. Okay. So there's a lot of reasons I would not play knight e7. So far, this is the best move I've seen. But what about pawn to f6?
It's an option. It blocks the bishop from coming down. I don't like this file that's opened up for my king though to be attacked.
Right.
But it is an option.
It is an
And it
option.
doesn't. It hinders my knight from moving to its natural
Beautiful.
progression square. But it is an option. I would say it's the third best option.
Third best option. Okay. And the last one, knight to f6.
Yeah.
In my opinion, this is the best move.
I like this move too. I think
Because it's the one that naturally fits in the plan that I already have.
right.
Moving the bishops before the knight, we have a rule, knights before bishops. Why? Because we know where the knight wants to go, and we don't know where the bishop wants to go yet.
Right.
So let's get more information, a move or two down the road, so that we can make a better choice about where our home for the bishop will be, or whether to trade it off or not.
Yeah.
Okay. It's because this is the move I wanted to make anyway, and it fits in with my plan. And if he trades, I take back with queen,
Yes.
helps me develop, right? And now I have the two bishops for free.
Yeah.
Okay, then perhaps this is the move that I would make. But the computer, like I said, thinks that this is a stronger move by like 1/10 of a pawn or something like that.
So if it were to, according to the computer,
Yeah.
if they were to take here, what would be the computer's ideal response?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that because I didn't look that far.
Yeah.
But I would assume taking with the knight simply because it
Right.
develops a new
And then
piece.
you're able to
To
castle with the
Cool.
king side.
All right. So now you have the list. We're going to practice making a piece safe. Okay. By exhausting all of the options and then choosing the best option in your opinion. Now, is it possible that you do all this and still make a bad move?
Of course.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
We do it all the time, right? But at least you'll have a reason why. You'll be able to go back and say, okay, well, why was this a bad move? And now you have something to learn from the loss right? You did the best you could with the options you had. You made a mistake, but now you have a learning opportunity, and you can improve upon that the next time. Okay. All right. So with this position, I want you to set up the black pieces. I'll set up the white pieces, and we'll just practice using this thought process. So white plays e5 here, and knight jumps forward. Now white could take, but instead he pushes to f3. Okay. So what is the first question that you ask when it's your turn?
What is under threat?
And what is under threat?
My knight.
Right? Again, sometimes it's blatantly obvious. Other times it's very subtle. But isn't it lovely when it's obvious?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead and name all the squares that the knight can move to. So we'll start with move.
Okay.
So go in the circle.
Yeah. So potentially, my knight can move to f2.
Okay, but don't just name where they can. The safe ones. Only the safe.
Oh, the safe one.
Because we're trying to make the knight safe, right?
Okay.
So here, is it safe here?
No, absolutely.
Okay, how about here? Is it safe here?
No.
How about here?
Yes, it would be safe there.
Okay. How about here?
No, it would also be safe. Actually, that is the only square that it is safe. Is
Well, you didn't check all of them, right? No, there's no shortcuts in calculation. So we have to come here. How about here? Is it safe here?
No, it's under attack.
How about safe here?
Still under attack.
How about here?
No, under attack with the bishop. I mean, I could counter attack, but
Wait a minute. Is this safe or not safe?
it is. I mean, immediately, no, I can be attacked here. I am protecting it with the pawn and the queen.
Would you lose material if
No.
Okay, well then I would say that's not an attack.
Okay.
You capturable, yes. Attack? No. Attack means that I'm under threat of losing material.
Right.
Okay, so here this is not an attack because it's guarded twice and it's attacked once. Okay, take back with the queen, take back with the pawn. We got options. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now I want you to look a little closer here. You said that this is safe and this is safe. So it's funny that you said this is not safe and this is, because the actual truth is that it's the opposite.
Yes, because if I were to take here,
Why?
after this, I have nowhere to retreat if
That's right.
the queen pushes up or even pushes up here.
Correct. Right here, he's threatening mate.
Right.
And the knight, right?
Yeah.
There's a problem, right? He can't go back to block without losing to the pawn,
Yeah.
right? So it does me absolutely no good to break into a museum to steal all the art if I don't have an escape plan.
Right,
And I
right,
get
right.
locked in and they come in the morning and the police just arrest me. I feel like a fool, right?
Yes.
So whenever you go in with a knight, especially because it's a short range piece,
Yes.
he needs an escape route. So before you go in, you have to ask, is there a way out?
Right.
The answer is no if you look. Okay, so it turns out this is not safe, but this is.
Yes.
Okay, so there was a mistake there.
Yeah.
You said this was not safe and it was, and you said this is safe and it wasn't.
Right.
Okay, so that's a learning moment. Okay,
Yes.
so we've named two squares. Actually, we've named one square where the knight can move where it's safe. Okay, how about capture? Can we capture the pawn that's giving the attack?
No.
Okay, move on. Can we block?
No.
No, there's no square, there's no piece, right? So no. How about protect? Would protection work?
No.
No, because it's a value attack.
Yeah.
How about trade? Can we trade the knight for an equal or greater piece?
No.
No. So how about counterattack? Do we have any checks?
This would be an interesting counterattack.
There we go. So now we're looking at this. And so now we have two candidate moves. We have queen to h4, and we have knight to g5. And we need to calculate both. Calculate means make the moves for both sides 3 moves deep.
Yeah.
That's what it means. It means guess their moves. Make the best moves for your opponent. Okay? Make the best moves for your opponent. So we'll start here because the counterattack has the most chances of bringing an advantage.
Yes.
So moving backwards is a retreat. You don't win wars by retreating.
Right.
Right? So queen to h4, check. So because he's in check, we have 100% predictability.
Yes.
He can move, capture, or block to get out of check. So where can he move?
He can move here, which
Yep.
would be a checkmate for him on the
Good.
next move.
So he can't move there.
Correct. Or he could move there, which still I would counterattack, and it would be very bad for him.
Okay, this does look bad, but there's something even better than queen to f2. Something a little more obvious. Don't forget this.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right?
That would be very bad.
Now this changes everything.
Yes.
When the king moves to e2, this move becomes very playable.
Yeah.
Not only do you win the pawn, but you win the queen
Yeah.
for a knight.
Yeah.
So this is even better. So can the king move to get out of check?
No.
No, nowhere safe. Not safe, illegal, not safe, illegal, illegal.
Yes.
So he can't move. How about capture? Can he capture the queen that's giving check?
No.
All right. How about block? Can he block?
He can block with the pawn.
All right. So he can block the pawn. And so now we have a problem because we have a queen and a knight under attack. So isn't that a double attack?
Potentially, but we have the ability to mitigate the double attack by using one of the pieces that are attacked to capture the other piece.
There we go. So knight takes g3.
Yes.
And the pin on the H file against the rook
Yeah.
saves the day.
Yeah.
Right? And this is a tactical pattern that many people have seen on chess.com puzzles. And
Yeah.
you can just recognize this answer very quickly because of the pattern you've seen. However, the value of this exercise is to teach our brains to list all the options possible so that we don't miss the best ones when they're not the most obvious.
Yes.
Right? If we're not looking beyond the first way that we see, then we're not actually choosing between moves. And what are the chances that the first move I see that solves the problem is going to be the best move every time?
Low probability.
Very, very low probability, unless you're just a genius guesser. And this is what we do most of the time is we play by intuition. Intuition is a guess.
Yeah.
And there's a place for intuition in chess, but it shouldn't be above calculation. Calculation is what you did when you moved the king. When you did the work of deciding where can the king move, okay, and what if I actually did do that, and then you saw the answer, right? You saw the reply.
Yeah.
But if you don't ask the question, your brain won't know what to output because there's no input.
Right.
And we just go with our feelings, right? And we usually lose when we do that.
Yes.
Okay, so knight takes, and so now we're in this position, we can force this position, okay? So if he takes, right, we take the rook,
Yes.
and now the knight's under attack, and I can predict this is the best move, right? And then you can take the pawn, and then we assess from this position.
Yes.
All the forcing moves seem to be done. So we've reached a quiet position after the battle, and now I want you to assess who's winning.
Well, out of that exchange, I got a rook and a pawn worth 6 points, and he got a knight worth 3 points.
Very good. And
From a piece exchange perspective, it's +3.
+3 for black. And what would be your responsibility for the rest of the position, the rest of the game? How would you activate your pieces? Do you want to keep the position closed, or do you want to keep open the position?
Well, I would want to open up my position as much as possible to, at this point, I'm up in material. At the very least, just do an even exchange until we get down to the
Right.
game.
Opening up the position will facilitate trades, which is to your advantage. And you have to activate your rooks because that's your advantage. That's the piece you have that they don't.
Yes.
So you'll be able to dominate files. And files are great when you dominate them because they're just roads into your enemy territory where you can enter into the 7th rank, mop up all the pawns, mop up a few pieces, threaten skewers, threaten back rank mates. All sorts of activity comes from the extra piece that you have that is I don't have to defend with.
Yes.
Okay. And so opening the position is your priority here. So you're just winning materially, and then your plan is to open, activate, and trade.
Yes.
Okay? Very good. And so now we know that there are 6 ways to make a piece safe. And the more options we give ourselves, the greater the chance that we'll find the best move. Want to play a game?
Sure.
Awesome, man. Let's do it.